Good to see everyone. Anxious to get back to work today, I think, after a couple of days off for the players. I'm sure they will be to get good rest, got their bodies healed up, their minds healed up, get away for a day or two. We had a good week of practice last week, I thought, fundamentally. Good practices on the days we were out there. Got a lot done, in my opinion. Some young guys worked and the older guys worked on some technical things in all aspects of our game, all three phases. I thought we did a really good job of that. Kids practiced hard. Looking forward to get back to game plan this week and getting back. Had a great opponent this week, of course, Alabama. I mean, outstanding football team on all three phases. They're number one for a reason. Defensively, their front, got experience upside with Lewis and Jennings up front and the guys in there. Raekwon is a huge guy inside who's played a lot of football. And the young freshman, Dale, and those guys are big body guys in there, 92. And, of course, Harris and 35 and all those guys at linebacker and secondary is very experienced. Surtain, really good corner. Saban is a tremendous corner also. Very good. Played a lot of ball. Makes plays, digs. He's all over the field. 15 is going to be a high-drafted safety. 21, nickel, 5. All those guys will play offensively. We know quarterback starts with Tua. Just commanding things, making decisions, accurate with the ball. The receivers are dynamic. All those guys. And then you sleep, their tight ends are very athletic in what they do. And they only have 3, they have 4. 4 of those receivers are with Jalen in there, and plus the return game he brings to the table and what they do in that regard, and Ruggs on the kickoff returns. And, every time they touch it, you got to know. But then their backs are, they're all going to play in the league, very good up front. So in that regard, special teams, like I say, Waddle can run it out of there, Ruggs can run it out of there. You got to cover extremely well. You got to kick it where you're supposed to kick it and cover and be in the lanes and do the things you got to do, and you got to go play football. And, of course, their kickers, they do a good job there. They're supposed to get their kicker and punter back this week. I believe I read last week if he comes back. So they'll be ready to go. Coach will well and expect to win, and they know how to win. So a very good team. We got our work cut out for us, but at the same time, we got to go out and execute, control what we can control, play like we can play up to our capabilities, and have a heck of a football game. Should be a heck of a football game. Questions?
To the right, Gabe, and then down front, Brent.
Coach, just a little more on Tua. How difficult is he to blitz, and how good is he when you try to do it because of the weapons he's got outside?
Well,
how important is it to get home with a four-man
I think that's a double-edged sword. One, he knows what he's doing and can see it, and they know what they're doing, and they're very dynamic in the man-to-man situation. So how you leverage him, how you coverage him in those respects, and then you expose yourself. But at the same time, you have to run. You can't just be in the same thing all the time. You got to challenge and mix it up, and hopefully do. And maybe you can bat some balls, get some balls, or get great coverage, and turn guys loose and get some hits on the quarterback. Because I don't care who you are, when you get hit and you get affected. In everything you do. So, but he's as good as there is in college football, and an outstanding player.
Down front, Brent, and then to the left, Chuck.
How important is it to establish a running game, and is it possible to get creative in establishing a running game?
Well, you say establish a running game. You got to have balance, but you got to move the football. And then establish a running game. You may throw to run, or you may run to throw. But you got to have balance. You got to be able to do both, because they can't lay their ears back. But you got to be able to move the football. I think so, and then create creativity in what you're trying to do. Different blocking schemes or how you do it would be good. And then we ran the ball last year. Mainly last year, we got it with quarterback runs. And then some things we did. We actually didn't run it very good with the backs. We had about 160 or 70 yards in the game rushing, but it had a lot to do with the quarterback had scramble too, but we had some playing quarterback runs, and we always have those. But we're going to have to establish the running back runs and different ways to move the football, no doubt.
To the left, Chuck, and then Olin.
In kind of the same vein on the running game, how important can it be in keeping Tua and all those wide receivers on the sideline?
Well, it is, but here's the thing. If you got to create big plays, you got to score points, because they're going to get points. They're going to get points. Their numbers of plays aren't up. Their big plays are up, and you're going to have to do that on defense. We've got to keep big plays down and opportunities in which we do. Like last week, we moved the ball extremely well offensively. Had a couple drives in which we screwed up, but we got to do a good job defensively of not giving up plays and getting off the field and getting third down stops. You can't just say that. We got to do it on both ends. We got to move the football, and we got to get points on those drives, not just moving the football. Because their time of possession, and some of the best teams I was ever on, we have great time of possession now, and we do it. We did last year, but sometimes when you're really talented, your time of possession isn't very high because your big plays are so high, and you don't eat it. So it's a double-edged sword. But when you do keep it, you got to score points, and that's why we were able to do it at the end of last year so well, and in some of the games that we played with earlier in the year.
Right side, Olin, then Alex on the second row.
Coach, have you been disappointed with the pass rush, and did you anticipate it to be more productive?
Well, I mean, you got to find ways to affect the quarterback, and we got to get guys to get home and stay in lanes and get push and do that. I'm not disappointed. I mean, we're not playing up to our capabilities in anything. I don't think you ever do right this time of year. Hopefully, you're getting better each and every day as you're coming through the season. But we've got to find ways to affect the quarterback and get more rush, and there's no doubt.
To the left, Alex.
Hey, Coach. How important is it to limit kind of the self-inflicted wounds, especially the turnovers? And going back to last year, you guys had 2 in the first half that really gave them a lead.
They really did. They hit off of it we missed a block on. I have no idea how we did it. And then the other one, we just eased up on a route right before half, and they were able to get a field goal. We had the route and didn't realize we were throwing it, I believe, and then eased up, and their guy ran in front. But you can't have self-inflicted. What we talk about, negative plays, penalties, turnovers, those kind of things, and you got to find a way to create big plays. I mean, that's always on offense. If you can eliminate, of course, always turnovers, but if you can eliminate negative plays and self-inflicted wounds on offense, I mean, it gives you a much better chance to move the football. And I don't care how talented you are, when you do those things to yourself, you can't. And those are things all good teams have to learn to not to do.
Down front, Wendell.
And not to keep harping on the running game situation, but how do you see the offensive line coming together? Obviously, the cohesion in an offensive line.
Well, I mean,
unit.
there's cohesion. They know what to do. We just got to do what we do better, and we got to run. Everybody says offensive line. They understand something. There's tight ends involved. There's running backs involved. There's a lot of things that are involved in running game, and even receivers and for people blocking secondary people. I mean, in fits, and because right now, in the way the game's played today, your safeties are they're basically linebackers anymore. So it's a whole encompassing thing that we got to create those angles, do a better job, and we got to do a better job up front technically and how we're doing things and missing runs. And we've missed some runs too. We've missed some cuts and got some young guys back there that haven't played a lot. And as their experience grows, hopefully we'll get better in those situations.
I don't know if rhythm is the right word, but does the running game kind of have to get into a rhythm?
All rhythm does. Offense and D. Anything you do is a rhythm in sports. I talk about it all the time. That's the momentum we talk about. When you have momentum, you have rhythm. You're into things. Things are going well. Your things are going fast. You're seeing it. You're not thinking. You're reacting. You're making plays. And I think 2 things: how we stop the run, and how we run the football. I mean, it's always going to be key. And then the big plays, in which and this game especially, will be very critical, in my opinion.
To the left, Travis.
I know several of the players said that a focus of this bye week was on the mental game. How important is Ryan?
Fundamental.
Yeah. How important is Ryan Pitzinger to the organization? How involved is he in a day-to-day and just kind of
He's involved with some guy. We have different guys who interact with him. We have other guys besides him himself, but Ryan is a big part of it. The mental and psychological disposition of things is critical, and I've always used sports psychologists, guys who deal with guys, how to think, how to process information, how to deal with pressures. That's a big part of today's world, the mental health issues that go on. And not really just issues, but how to deal and comprehend and cope with things to put yourself in the right frame of mind to compete because of social media and what people say, and how to simplify things, because kids today are engulfed in so much more information than we ever were. I mean, and what goes on. That's why I try to stay away from all that stuff. I mean, you got to control what you can control. And we spend a lot of time with Ryan, but we also have other guys involved in that, and they all do a really good job. Ryan's really good.
Right side, Olin, and then Suzanne.
Yeah, Coach, does Alabama's defense strike you as being more vulnerable, especially to the run, than it maybe previously?
I don't know what film they're watching. Looks pretty good to me. I mean, guys have gotten some yards late. Guys have gotten some yards late on them, but in the games, they've been really controlled in the first parts of those games. You're looking at numbers. Look at when it's gotten and how they're gotten and why they're gotten. It's some of those things, and they've been pretty good. I think South Carolina had a good day. They got them going in some no-huddle things, but they went the other way. They didn't control the clock. They went up tempo. You know what I'm saying? And had some runs on them, but earlier in the game, and did some real nice things. But most of the other yards against the games that I saw were mainly late in the game. So, they're a typical Alabama team. They're big and physical up front. Again, they have young linebackers, but they're athletic because Moses and those guys, they had a couple injuries. But in the secondary, they're very experienced. So, they have a lot of experience around a lot of guys.
To the left, Suzanne, and then to the back, Mike.
Over here, Jimbo. Nick Saban has had wholesale changes among his assistants, I guess, over the last 2 years. I think there may be only one guy who's still left. Can you look at the Alabama team and see that they're different anyway than they have been?
I'll give you an example. The year we won the national championship at Florida State, we lost 6 assistants the year before. Won the national championship the next year. Your system, when your head coach, what I'm saying is his system, offensively, defensively, and you coach your coaches to coach how you want them to be in your system. And he does that. And, of course, now new guys will bring new ideas and they'll spread, but, you're going to keep the basis of what you do and how you do it the same way. Those guys won't come in. You don't come in and just say, I'm running my offense. No, this is the Alabama offense. This is the Alabama defense. Very much like we do. I mean, this is certain ways of defense we're going to play, certain ways of offense, and the things we do. And still see a lot of things over there. Saw when I was coaching.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure, follow up.
I was also reading that this is the first time in 10 years that in the regular season, one team has faced two different number ones on its schedule.
Is that right?
Yeah. How can you use that to your advantage?
Well, I don't know if it's your advantage. You got opportunities. You just got to look at it as opportunities and to go play. You've been in that environment once. Now you get to do it at home. Hopefully you'll learn from those situations and learn that, those number one teams are number one for one reason. They play very well. At the end of the day, you say all the things you do, they play well. And that's what you got to do. That's what we have to do. Go play well. Can't get caught up in what we're trying to do, the emotion of the game. You technically and physically and psychologically got to compete against the guy in front of you, and you got to win more plays than he wins and win more and then the key plays in the game. At the end of the day, when you get right down to it, it doesn't become anything that's something you can't do, and that's hopefully you got to understand that, and you block out the clutter and eliminate everything else. And no matter if they're number one or they're number two or they're number 20 or they're number 120. You still got to go play the game, and you got to play it the same way as far as how you approach it. Doesn't matter. And hopefully we've learned that, and we'll just relax and play. And now knowing your opponent is very talented and very good, but at the same time, you can't deal with it. You got to play up to your capabilities.
Go to the back right, Mike.
Coach, were you pleased with how your guys performed and progressed during the bye week? They said they all went back to kind of like the fall camp style practices.
We did. We went back to fall camp style practice. Went back. They competed very hard. Technically got better steps, alignments, assignments, hats. I mean, first step and hat placement, where your eyes went on defense, first step and hat placement on defense, how you fit around. I mean, we went back to really a lot of drills that allowed them to go back to those fundamentals and not think about scheme, just, half line drills, one-on-one drills, two-on-two drills, to really you could technically do things and try to make things a better habit than they even were before. And I thought we did a good job of that.
Time for a couple more to the left, Justin.
Yes, sir.
Coach, obviously your team has shown the ability to keep fighting and scratching and clawing, but boy, how nice would it be not to be in a 14-0 hole again early?
It would, and that's why you got to learn to start
How can
faster.
you learn? Yeah, I was going to say, how do you
As
learn
I
from
can
that?
say, and in the Auburn game, unfortunately, they were able to come down and score right off the bat, and then we get a drive and miss a field goal, and then they come back and we're able to get a drive, and and you get down. And like I say, you don't ever win games in the first 5 minutes, but you can put yourself behind the 8 ball and make it very tough on how things go. And you need to get out fast and start fast, which is good. Which is something that I thought we did at Arkansas. We got out, and then you got to sustain. I mean, we got out, we drop a touchdown the first drive, and then we score a touchdown, and then then had a turnover and then get stopped on a 3 and out, and then we go back and score a touchdown. So I mean, just sustaining, and I think that part of growing up and understanding that once you get it, you got to keep executing in what you're doing, and defensively the same way. I mean, not allow those big plays to happen, not allow them to run the football, some of the tricks and some of the things we do, and play a little more consistently as a team, though. I mean, special teams, all of it. And it'd be great to get off to a great start, get in the game, because like I say, this crowd and the people here are phenomenal to play in front of. It's a great atmosphere. It's a great environment, like I said, as good as I've been a part of. But the key to that is we need to play well. That makes them even happier and even juicier.
Down front, Brett.
Louder, as they would say.
All right, I'm going to have a two-parter here, so I'm just going to ask the first question first.
Well, you're awful. Well, you got a lot of questions. Is there a limit on these?
Well,
things?
he just said we're down to
the other guys. The other
couple more.
It's 1:15, and he just said we're down to a couple. I said, okay, I'm going to get these in here.
All right, I'm good. Come
okay. Going back to Bobby Brown's recruitment, head-to-head win over Alabama.
Wow.
Any anecdotes from that in terms of any memories? That was obviously a big victory.
No,
for y'all.
I think you're talking about 2 hours or 3 hours compared to 8 hours. Talking about a scheme, and I think location, I think the school, I think itself about what A&M has to offer in the big picture things, playing ball, playing and building a championship program, being part of building something is part of being part of something that's already there. There's something special about that. I mean, that challenge to be able to go do that. You just want to be another one, or you want to be one of the first? And I think there is that, and you have the capabilities to be a game changer in what you do. And I think he loved. If you remember, he liked A&M the whole time he'd ever been in recruiting. I think. He's definitely a mama's boy. He loves his mama and he's close with his mama, and I think those are all factors at play. But I think he saw the future of what we're trying to build here and what we're trying to do, and that was a big keeping these guys in the state of Texas and making them realize they don't have to leave here to get what they want. It was huge.
two-parter of that, but I was going to ask about how neat is it to have a mom who's that involved. He always talks about her, how much.
Oh,
she
I mean, she's wonderful for him. Very supportive and tough. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's tough love. I mean, when she has to be, she gets on him and pushes him and challenges him, and because she was an athlete herself, a great athlete.
Right.
I mean, a phenomenal athlete, and I think it's great, and for him to be able to stay here local and get the whole A&M experience from the education to the Aggie ring when it's afterward, but the ball in which we're building and the program we're building during his time here. His 4 years here, he's going to have some success and a lot of success and be a part of putting a foundation down for winning and going forward, just like all of the guys that were here in those early classes and those classes we've been here, and hopefully in the future classes that are about to come in.
Okay, so with Kyle Field, there'll be 102,000 fans in here. It'll be rabid. Everything will be uniform. Do you think sometimes, I think some of the national guys said that it's lost its intimidation factor. Do you think sometimes it's too nice of a setting, if that makes any sense, during a game atmosphere?
I couldn't imagine. I don't know who would say that and why they said that, but I think this is one of the great places to play in college football, one of the venues. I mean, my games that I've been in here and the games we've been in here, it's been tremendous. I think it's as good as anywhere to play. The atmosphere, the electricity, and the fans I think are awesome. They're into it as much as any place I've ever been, and I don't mean that in any disrespect to anywhere I've ever been. I just think it's a phenomenal place. So people who love their atmosphere and environment, and it's our job to make things uncomfortable too. It's part of the players and coaches' job to keep playing well. And I know the games I can remember last year. I mean, the LSU game was phenomenal. Clemson was phenomenal. Kentucky was phenomenal. I mean, I mean, all of them were. I don't know any games that weren't. I mean, Auburn game was great atmosphere. Like I say, we need to play well. I mean, if we play well early, better, it makes it tougher. But those fans didn't go anywhere. They were right there and did well. We're just, like I say, we're in the founding stages of building this program, and we have to do it. And we have to put the foundation down and do it the right way, and lay the future for this thing, which I think is we haven't had. I'm disappointed we haven't had some of the results we wanted already, but I think the foundation of what we're doing is right on track for the things we got to do, and these are lessons sometimes you got to learn. But hopefully we can get through these and learn them and play well and take advantage of these opportunities.
Gabe, you'll wrap us up. We've got Keldrick waiting.
Jimbo, how pleased are you with your cornerback growth and development, especially as they enter this challenge with these great Bama?
Well, I mean, they're going to have their hands full, which I think they're looking for the challenge. Those guys have done a really nice job. The length, the size, learning to control their bodies, learning how not just to be athletes, to be football players. See, and that's a misconception. Something. Well, he's big, he can run, he's athletic. Well, that doesn't mean you play football. Football is a learned behavior of how to play the game, the mental part, the psychological part, the competitive part, and the technical part. That's the thing, the technical parts of football and how you cover your angles, things you do. I mean, for that example, playing a corner, and they think just because a big guy's big. And those guys have really done a nice job of taking the coaching and looking at film, getting better, and have been very competitive with each other, and I think have done a really, really nice